What is going on, Goat? So I am looking at our favorite problem child, US 30 right now. So we were talking that US 30 was going to start correcting, and I did believe that it would sell off, which it did. It had a major sell off around 1 o'clock p.m. today, 1300. So, if you don't know what military time is, that's 13, that's 1 o'clock p.m. So the market dropped, and that's what we were expecting. Now, I was expecting for the market to continue dropping and maybe push down here, which we're still not out of the neck of the woods yet. We're in Sydney and Tokyo session right now, so we're heading towards London. So normally around that time period, you have those consolidation periods, right? So right now, if you look at it, well, let's go to the highest time frame to me that matters, which would be the 4 hour. We could still see it. Okay, you could see slightly that the 4 hour EMA, as far as the 4 hour time frame, the EMA, which is my 21 over here, your exponential moving average, 21. I have 21, 8, 13. I think some other people use I don't know what they use for their 21, but I know some people use a 10 or a 9 and then a 12. So I don't have the specifics. I just got these a long time ago and they worked for me. The market does react off of these indicators. So I use them to, formulate my analysis, but also to find possible entries within the market. Now, here's our indicator right here where you can see all the indicator, all the EMAs are lining up right here. I do expect the market to continue to push up here. Here's where we could go into territory where the market could start trying to trend down again. I do think that we are bullish right now, but we would just have to see how the market reacts once it gets, basically 100% of this candle right here. Like I said, we have a gap, you know what I'm saying? And the market's been playing around. Now, there are multiple gaps. I've annotated that on my trade locker. So TradingView doesn't expose all the gaps, but your trade locker should expose all the gaps. And I found them and I've marked them up on my chart. So that way I can know that there's a gap there. And if the market is returning to that level, more than likely it's going to blow through that gap if the trend is bullish, right? So here's my walkthrough, right? Now, when I saw price creating this resistance, I felt like this resistance was kind of weak. It wasn't really a strong resistance. Now, remember, look where we came from. We came from this gap over here, which was Friday, well, Sunday, yeah, the beginning of April. So, well, the second week, going into the second week of April, that Sunday, the market gapped down, right? Gapped down and played around in that gap. Well, while I was playing around in that gap, it created support. Where did it create support off of? Let's back out to the higher time frame. It was creating support on this previous level of resistance. Now, my expectations was that we would get 100% of this candle filled, which I don't think that's out of the way either. So even if we're trending up, again, when we get to these higher levels up here, the market could try to push a candle all the way back down here. But I don't want to talk in future tenses right now on things that we would have to clarify as the market gives us more data. I just want to focus on what's going on right here, right? So that's why I went out to the higher time frame. We can see that one, we did respect this level of resistance, right? The market did respect this level of resistance. Now, look at how US 30 has formed, overall. Do you see how its movements have been? It's kind of been like this. It's kind of been like it'll pull up and then over time, it'll decide to pull back down or retest or collect liquidity, things like that. You could even see it from here. May 2020. Prices kept rising up, small push down now in a higher time frame. That does look like an aggressive push down. But you can see it touched it touched the previous high. Continue to trend. Same thing here. Continue to trend. Same thing here. Continue to trend. Broke up out of all this structure. And here we are continuing to trend at a previous high. And you can see the same thing happening with these other with these previous moves within the market. You can see there's a previous high right here. 2020 broke up out of that, and 2021 came all the way back down in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like you see, it is respecting these movements that the market is making. So when the market does decide to get bullish again, more than likely it'll either probably start consolidating, and then after it ranges up out of this zone, it'll probably pull back to these levels again because it is trending up right now. So we do have to consider, or we do have to respect that US 30 is trending up, even though we had this major sell opportunity that came in the market. Now, this was that M pattern, which I think that has been exhausted because we did hit a previous level of resistance, and the market should want to continue to respect that. We just have to clear these levels or clear these test zones that the market is trying to do. Now, you can see one thing that I said that I looked at was that 4 hour time frame, right? So on the 4 hour time frame, the one thing that I said is that if this, to me, if this candle was to stay bullish, this 4 hour candle, if it were to stay bullish, I think that we're possibly heading back all the way up to these levels. So I think that this resistance that was made within this structure, this consolidation structure, I think this resistance is not true resistance. So I think the market is going to break up out of this zone if we continue being bullish. Now, the one thing that I want to identify is that let's trace back the market and see what we can spot with our own eyes. Let me kind of clear this up for everyone a little bit. Now, this is a line chart, so you can't read it the same way as you do candlesticks, but let's snake our way back from where the market is at and see where we're currently at, all right? All right, we had consolidation that broke down. No retest yet. Well, let's see. Yeah, no retest of this consolidation point. The market should want to push back up. If it is still selling, it should want to push back up to the zone, or at least partly of this candle, and then have the market continue pushing down. Now, when we keep going all the way back, look at this zone right here. Look at this circle. Well, this I'm gonna circle it. Let's make that a noticeable color. So let's say pink, I guess. You run out of colors messing with TradingView, right? But anyway, so this area is what? What do I always talk about within this area, especially when it pertains to indices? This is consolidation right here. You can see that the market broke up out of this area. Now I was kind of wary of it because I expected the market to blow through this, which it could still possibly do. But look at where we're at. What is that considered in the market? This area is considered a previous high, previous level of resistance. Look where this market pushed all the way down to collect that, and then and then started pushing up. So to me, that's no coincidence that the market broke out of consolidation. It returned back to consolidation to quote unquote retest, right? Now, if the market is still trending up, what we should see is that it should push up and then maybe try to establish some support. So maybe New York session and tries to push the market back down to these levels. We'll see, you know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm reading and this is what I'm projecting for the market to actually play us into this buy zone. Because if we go all the way back, if you snake your way all the way back to where we came from, which I already talked about this gap, we can see that we did cover this gap. We just didn't test back into that zone. But in the meantime, well, while it was creating this data, the market actually created what? A double bottom on the 4 hour time frame. And here we have is that the market did retest the previous level of resistance, the previous high that the market broke out of. So if you took a zone and then just identified, again, it's not going to be picture perfect, but the one thing we did see is that the market started showing rejection wicks within this area. That is a previous level of resistance that is now support until proven otherwise. What am I trying to do? So you just draw this out, you can see that the market did the structure closed at the structure closed at the previous high. But as far as the momentum, the market went as low as what? Probably another previous high or as low as, let me see what percentage of this candle it is. 618, but what I always say, I like for it to close either above 618 or at 50%. It closed at 50%. It's retesting this area. To me, what it looks like. The only thing is that do we have room to come down? But I think as far as today is concerned, going into London, we're buying all the way back up, probably up into New York. So we have a lot of gaps up here that I think the market is going to be attracted to within this week. So my expectation was that we probably would have corrected. And again, we're still not done once the market gets back up to these levels. Because again, we have that indicator that's floating up there that the market could touch and then want to push down. So we would have to analyze that up into New York. But my expectation is that if we don't do that, then we're continuing bullish. So you just have to basically assess the market and wait for the market to show you its hand. Same thing with S&P. So you could probably see this with indices across the board. One thing that I like is that S&P is staying above 5,300, well, above 5,200. You can see that I drew a zone down here. Was that today that I drew that zone? Yeah, this was the zone earlier that it broke down that I thought it might have been buying from, but I ended up changing my analysis quickly, which I'm glad I did because it pushed down aggressively. So it faked out up here around this was 11 o'clock. So it faked out, or really it just retested, but it went higher than what I anticipated. So that's why I thought it was about to buy up. But once I got further confirmation that it was selling, I knew sellers were still in the market. So we caught, excuse me, we did catch the sell. And now we're looking at the buy. I am currently in the buy, and I'm seeing how high the market goes. But my exit would be pretty much on the 4 hour time frame where that indicator is. So you would have to enter this into your own trading view under the indicators, find EMA, and then configure. You just would need one, unless you wanted all of these, but you can use them all if everybody wants to. I have them color coded in red, blue, and purple, but that's if everyone sees fits to use it. But the 21, I do think that it is necessary. So if you don't get the 8 and the 13 for your EMA, I would say input the 21 because it is a good guide, because normally that's where the market bounces off of. So on a 4 hour time frame, that's what we're waiting for. So this is where I would look to exit. And what's crazy is that, well, I wouldn't say it's crazy, but makes total sense. Up here was a previous level that the market broke out of. So if we are still trending to the downside, it should want to, come up here, test this level, and then push down and continue selling off. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait for what the market is going to show us. But exactly everything we've been talking about and we've been wanting to see. The one thing that I like is that we are seeing support right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are seeing support within this market, and we just have to wait for it to show us its hand. Easy money. But yeah, that's all I got, traders. Now, I'm not sure if this is gonna go on YouTube yet. So we'll kind of see if this is gonna go on YouTube after I push it out to the group. But if this does end up on YouTube and you are viewing this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, because it definitely helps my channel grow. So this is all I got. I really wanted to emphasize this, that yeah, we might be in the position for a bull market. I was looking at it earlier, but it looks like the market is actually exhausting itself. So if we play to these positions, then yeah, we should be looking for a bull run that's out of this world. You know what I'm saying? I am still looking at US 30 to go to 50K this year. So we'll just have to see. But if we break this high, I think that's where we're going by the end of the year. We'll be at 50K, possibly, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? But that's all I got, traders. So I will see you on the next video with Digital Goats Academy.